I'm guessing, yeah, so started recording. So yeah, last time we met, we basically talked about what the product is, which is anything offered to the market that meets a need or either a need or want, basically. So it can be anything, anything at all that just is offered to the market, meets a need or meets a want. It's a product from food to clothing to gadgets, software products, and all those things. And again, the reason I talked about this last time was because most people see products as just software product, but product is anything. Yeah, basically. Um, then we talked about what product management is, and we did say it's product management and all tasks required with identifying the right products, identifying the right problem, um, then finding the right solution and making sure that solution succeeds in the market. So which includes planning, developing, testing, launching, iterating on the product, maintenance, killing the product and all that. Yeah. So that's second thing we talked about. Then we talked about product management um, not being just deciding on features to be built, meeting with the development team, and then just start coding and hoping to meet target. However, our product management includes research, user research, market research, product strategy, testing the product, planning the testing of the product usability testing, measuring metrics, writing user stories, the project management aspects, stakeholder and on and on. So product management is a lot of things that you're trying to do at the same time. And we did mention that in some companies, bigger companies especially, the roles are like more cut out. Like there's a product manager that just is the business facing. There's the product owner that writes the user stories and like does the project management aspect. Then there's the business analyst that does market research and trying to see for the um, what the business needs to do of product and what needs to be improved. There's the support, then there's the product analytics department or product analyst that measures metrics and all those things. However, in most startups, all this is just one role, which is a product manager that wears all these hats. So yeah, one of the other things we talked about. And a product manager, we also talked about product manager being you are a you are basically in the intersection of users, business, technology, engineering, marketing, sales, all those things, and you are constantly juggling so many balls. Remember from here, there are so many things to do, and also that you are not exactly the CEO of a product, like many people will say, because the CEO can lead by authority, but the authority you can mostly lead by influence. So, but again, we did mention that if the product succeeds, is the joy, it's the team. But if the product fails, it's the product manager. That's the way a lot of people see it. Yeah. Then basically being the person who is tasked with identifying the right problem to be solved, building the right solution to be solved, and getting the solutions to succeed in the market. So identifying the right problem, doing research, and all those things, or basically identifying the right problem, basically problem discovery, then building the right solution. So product discovery basically sits in between identifying the right problem and building the right solution. Product discovery is like it's kind of encompasses identifying the right problem and some parts of building the solution, really. And making sure the product succeeds in the market, like you've launched a product, everything that now has to do with making sure that you are competing, you have competitive edge, product strategy, constantly iterating on product and all those things. The product manager is like tasked with all these things. It's a lot of things actually. And qualities, you should have emotional intelligence, which includes empathy, self-awareness, influencing skills, and relationship management. You should have core skills, which includes vision and strategy, delivery management, researching and communication skills. Again, this is just quickly just running through everything we've done that we did last time. So I'm trying to rush. Then we talked about types of product managers, which this is not just the definition. There are a lot of ways that they've subsetted product managers. We have B2B product managers who only focus on who builds products for other businesses. We have B2C, that's B2B is business to business. We have B2C, which is business to customers, who builds products that like directly to the consumers. For example, Duolingo, Google, Gmail, and all those things that are directly to the end to the customers, to like end users, a lot of end users. But like Salesforce, for example, will be like B2B. They build for other businesses or build direct to other businesses, basically. Then we have so many other arts. We have technical PM, who are the ones that understand engine coding and all those things. We have design-oriented PM, we have business-oriented PM, data-oriented PM, and a lot of other ways that they've subsetted all these PM arts. But what's important is a product manager is primarily involved in or tasked with identifying the right problem, building the right solution, making sure that solution succeeds in the market. That's the basic. Then we talk about project management and product management, which means project management is like can be a subset of product management. So where product management is identifying the right problem, finding the right solution, and making sure that solution succeeds. Project management part of product is or project management basically is you are not exactly identifying the problem. Your primary responsibility as a project manager is making sure that making sure execution, like when you are building something, making sure execution is done on time, within budget and within the scope. That's the focus. The execution is done on time, within budget, within scope. So when you are building and you have resources and you need to launch in 3 months, making sure that you launch in 3 months, you launch with this right scope, like you defend the scope, and you are within budget. You don't go over the budget. We talked about that. And yeah, the last part was where we talked about product life cycle, with product life cycle being the life cycle a product goes through basically from when you introduce that product to the market, and when that product is growing in the market, and when the product matures. So the product is first introduced, then the product grows. So for example, product is introduced, you have 100,000 users. Product, that's most startups. Then product grows to maybe like you have like 1 million users. That's growth. That's like the growth level of, so you are a little bit above, you are moving off startup now. Then you have maturity, where like people like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, where your product now has maybe some 500 million, 800 million, whatever users, like you are fully matured. Then at the point of maturity, there's the next step usually is a decline. So when you are growing, you are still attaining maturity, but at the point of maturity, the next way to go is down, is to decline. However, to prevent declining, you now start extending the product, you start buying other companies, doing other things just to make sure that you don't decline. So product extension, either declining or product extension. So again, there's all this breakdown of what's needed at each phase. And then the most important one, the software development life cycle, which is the life cycle you go through when developing a product, a software product. And the first step is usually, some will say 5 steps, some will say 7 steps, some will say 6, but I like going with the 6 steps. If it's 7 steps, basically, remember I mentioned that it means number 1 was broken down into 2, where you have planning as 1 and 2 as analysis. But here, 6 combines planning and analysis, 5 combines implement and testing and integration and deployment. They combine this. So, but it's the same thing. And we did mention that planning phase, planning and requirement gathering phase. Planning is where you are planning, okay, when you want to do something, you should count the costs, basically. So planning is where you're counting the cost. How much do we have for this? What's our budget for this? How long do we have to want to deliver? What exactly are we trying to build? That's planning. Then requirement gathering phase is now like, okay, or product discovery. This is the problem we want to solve. What requirements should we have and all that. So that's the first phase of SDLC. The next phase is the design phase, where the designers are working on the product user interface, the mockups basically, and the architect, the data architect or the engineer, they are working on the engineering architecture and the data architecture for the product. Then, so by this point, by the end of this point, you've done all the designs, you've done the setups, you've done, you have all the requirements. Then the next stage is start developing. This is where the developers are writing the code. Then, of course, when they write the code, it needs to be tested. So testing is the next phase where you're trying to find bugs. You're trying to make sure that the product works well and it's free of bugs, at least core core usability issues, at least. And because at the end of the day, almost all products, there are very few products out there, or let me say it this way, that it's very hard to have like defect free or bug free. The only thing is you need to make sure that even if there's any bug, it's not a major one, it's just a minor one that doesn't really affect much, and then you are constantly trying to fix those bugs as you go. Okay, so then there's the launch and deployment phase, when you actually launch the product, when you launch it and people start using it, which is the beginning of the product life cycle that we have, introduction. And then maintenance phase, this is where you are in rolling out, like this product is now launched, people are using it, but then you are adding new features, rolling out new updates, security updates, and all those things. That's the maintenance phase. Yeah, so that's a run through of what we did the last time, and I did that just to jog our memory and also to give Nifemi a little bit idea of at least what we covered. I'll still try and get, now that I've remembered, I'll try and get the video, the recording for the first class, try and get it across, because what I just covered now, I think it cost about 2 hours to do it the last time, so there might be more information for you. Okay, so let's go into today. I hope you guys are still with me. If you are with me, do a thumbs up or mute and say something. Just give me a feedback just to be sure that, okay. So are you here? Thank you, Maki. Thank you, Nifemi. So, Oluwaseun Afolabi, Nifemi, which one is your preferred name?
Nifemi.
Nifemi is your preferred name. All right, cool. So, so let's get into it. So yeah, remember that I said while we were introducing this. Okay, yeah, let me start here. The next thing that I want to do is the part is product discovery. And here we'll be using a couple of frameworks or tools. And there's also one other thing that I mentioned the last time, and it is that at the beginning, forget about the tools. Many people will say, oh, you see a lot of people using this tool, using that tool, using Jira, telling you about Trello, telling you about Linear, telling you about product board, telling you about product plan, telling you about this, about that, telling you about the different, have you used Rice? Did you use Kano? Did you use Moscow? Did you use this? Please, at the beginning, I know it can be overwhelming, but please, what I want to beg you of is, for now, do not bother about the plenty tools that are out there. For now, focus on the core knowledge, which is you want to achieve something. What exactly do you want to achieve? And how do you go about achieving what you want to achieve? And then Tooling is just a layer up on that. For example, you have a team, you want to run Scrum, you have a team, you want to write user stories, blah, blah, blah. The core should be, how do you write user stories? How do you write good success criteria or acceptance criteria that can be measured properly and all those things? That's the core. That's what you should focus on. That one is not a tool, it's the knowledge, it's the skill itself. Writing user stories, writing acceptance criteria, that's the core. Then you can now say, oh, where do you write it? Okay, I can write it on Google spreadsheets or Microsoft Excel. I can write it, I can use Jira, I can use Trello, I can use Linear, I can use Monday.com, I can use whatever that is out there. But if you are bothering too much about, oh, I want to learn how to use Jira to write user stories. One is not learned how to write user stories. It wouldn't make sense in the long run. So for now, a lot of, especially if you're hearing other people talking, they can be talking about tools and all different things that they do. For now, just focus. What is it that you are trying to do? And how do you do it? And you can't know everything, but you keep on building on the knowledge. Sorry, give me just 1 second, please. Apologies, I'm back. So, product discovery, the reason I'm saying that is there are lots of people that there are different methods I can take to product discovery. Aside using the design thinking framework, depending on the situation, but there are ways you can go about it. However, and there are different ways of brainstorming. There are like thousands, not thousands, of course. There are lots of ways, but these are just some of the things like crazy eight, Scamper, brainwriting. Those are and design thinking, then user personas. Like those are the ones we'll focus on. And the reason is, this is what I use a lot of times, and I know it works. So I'll just teach you what works. And for example, I've read about some other tools, or maybe one wants to do design, discovery, and a couple of other things. But when I'm doing product discovery, while I know about some of those other ones, this is just the one I always go with most times. And the core is actually the design thinking framework. So let's start. Okay, so like I said at the beginning, we are going to have tasks, case study, and that's the way I want to run. So it's going to be less of me actually doing the talking and telling you and teaching you the theory. I want it to be practical, that because getting the knowledge itself is in actually doing. And my goal is by the end of, like, for anyone that completes it, by the end of the program, you should have a portfolio. You should have something that you have put on a portfolio that you have actually done, which is this, which is a case study like this. So the way we are going to start is using a case study. Now, this is going to be this case study we'll use for the class. However, the reason I've not created case studies yet is I wanted to know like the number of people that will actually be serious with this and go further. I know, because I will want to pair people up, like two people working on the same case study, so that at least at the end of the day, you actually have not 10 people writing that they did exactly the same thing, but you have things that you have done, basically. But the concept remains the same. So the case study we use for the class are when I'm just talking generally, what I'll just be referring to, but this is not the one that you will use. I'll tweak this a bit for the number of people that will have eventually. But the challenge is the company executive, think like the CEO, has identified the pain points. The pain point is in difficulty accessing their children's educational details from schools. Then they've further done some research, like this company executive, like and found that there's a lack of user-friendly school management solutions that has parent access. Now, again, reading between the lines, the problem is that this company executive is a parent. He is not able to access his or her children's educational details from the school. So it means that if he needs some details about the children's performance in school and all that, he needs to get to the school or call the teacher and stuff like that. And then he tries to find out, but he tries to find out and sees that, oh, there's really no school management system that is user friendly that me as a parent, I can log in to actually see if my child missed school today or my child was in class, or what is called in the CA and all those things. And maybe comment from different teachers and all those things. Like there's really none, or the ones that are available are not user friendly. So that's the challenge. Now, the company executive in the company, like in the, let's say, think about like in the tech company, and this company executive now thought, oh, this might be something, a gap in the market. Let's look at this further. So you are the product manager on that team, on the team that's been tasked with, that's been given this task. So your team includes you as a product manager, and you are the product manager, you are the QA, quality assurance person. We'll talk about testing eventually. Then, and you have developers, maybe 3 developers, 1 backend, 2 full stack, or something, or 2 front end, 1 backend, or something like that. Whatever the number of people, but you are the product manager on that team, and your team has been tasked with developing an edtech product. Basically, don't forget, it's meant to be a school management product or school management solution that will that bridges the communication gap. The solution should be a centralized platform for managing student information and facilitating communication between school and the parents. Does the case study make sense to you so far? Like, do you understand what needs to be done? Because that's the first step really in doing product discovery. Are you guys with me? Do you understand what needs to be done? You can drop comments and whatever. I just want to be sure that you are following, and I'm not just talking to myself. Hello. Okay. Thank you, Nifemi. Okay. Chinonso says she doesn't understand. The task. Let's just read through. Nifemi has left. I hope she joins back. Let's just read through the task. Welcome back, Nifemi. Let's read through the case study again. Now, a company executive, like you work in a company, and that company executive has identified a pain point. And that pain point is the difficulty to access their children's educational details from the school. Now, research confirmed, like this person then went further to do some research, and then from research discovered that there's actually a lack of user-friendly school management solutions with integrated parent access. Now, you are the product manager, you have team members, developers, whoever on your team, but you are the PM, and your team has been tasked. Like, you work in the company that this company executive works in. Like, this company executive is basically your boss. And then he says, oh, I discovered this problem, and then Chinonso, you are the PM. I've given you this number of developers. Research this gap and find a way to build an edtech product that bridges this gap that I have noticed. And the solution should be a centralized platform for managing students' information and facilitating communication between schools and parents. It's plenty ground. The breakdown is just the company executive is a parent. He has children. Think like I have children. My children attend a school, and of course, as a good parent, I want to follow up on how my children are faring in school, like their educational performance, general comments about them. Do they leave home but they don't go to school? Or do they skip classes, like they get to school, but during class, they run away from class? And I just want to know all those things. But I don't want to wait till I call. Like usually, the way I know it, get to know it, is by going to the school to ask the principal and stuff like that, or by calling the teacher or by calling someone. But I don't want to, like, I mean, there should be a system that should be able to, that I can just log into as a parent and see all this information about my child, how my child is performing, including their scores and all those things in school. So that's the problem, basically. And your team, as you have been tasked with building a product that does that. Do you understand now, Chinonso? Yeah. Maki, do you also understand the problem? Yeah. Cool. So usually, because if you see an internship role and they want to, and you want to go through the interview process, oftentimes it's the interview process requires them giving you like a task, and the task could be something like this. It could be in different ways. The task will come somewhat like this, where they give you a question and they tell you to build something, and they give you some specifics like do wireframes, do like let's know your user flow, your process, and all those things, blah blah blah. But the first thing is in understanding the problem you're trying to solve. And understanding the problem is important because you need to know your actors, like who are the different people that will be using this product, and how will they be using it, and then who are the different people that will need to use this product, or who are the different people that currently have these challenges, because you need to speak with them to try to understand their pain points. So which brings us really into the design thinking process. So I'll just introduce what the design thinking process is, and then we'll talk about the first part, and then you go on to do the task. So the design thinking process is a framework that is used in solving complex problems and for creating innovative solutions. Can be used by different companies in different situations, but the core concept is it's just a framework used for solving complex problems. Like I said the other time, there are so many frameworks out there, but like what you are trying to do is product discovery. You want to you are trying to discover the problems and then a solution. Again, don't forget the PM, you are responsible for finding the right problem, building the right solution, and making sure that solution succeeds in the market. This design thinking process, it's one of the tools or frameworks you use to find the right problem and get the right solution. So, and it is an important tool, it's a very powerful tool because it emphasizes a human-centered approach. Because at the end of the day, humans are the ones that will use your product. So it emphasizes human-centered approach where you are really trying to find the needs of the users you are designing for. Now, one of the surest way to fail is building a product while thinking that everybody has a problem. Like building a product that does not actually solve a problem. Now, that's one of the surest ways for your product to fail. And we've had products like that where you see the product and be like, what problem exactly is this product trying to solve? Like, I mean, there are so many things that, like, this is not a problem. Why are you building a solution for a problem that doesn't exist? Most times it's because someone has an idea and just goes ahead to just build. When you have an idea, you need to be sure that, okay, people have that problem. And yeah, something else to mention is, as a product manager, don't work from the solution space, work from the problem space. And what that means is, don't have a solution in mind and then try to find a problem for that solution. For example, you might notice a problem in the market. Don't try to have a solution and then try to find a problem that will not fit your solution that you already have. What you should do is, even if you have an idea and a solution in mind, try to find the right problems, understand the problems, and then shape your solution to fit the problem. Again, finding the right problem, building the right solution, and then making sure that solution succeeds in the market. So what does design thinking process entail? It's 5 steps of real work. And the first step is empathize. The second step is define. The third step is ideate. The fourth is prototype, and then fifth test. And in summary, what each step is doing is during empathizing, what you are doing primarily. Don't forget that empathy is one of the core qualities that we mentioned of a PM. And during the empathize phase of design thinking process, what you are doing basically is you are trying to understand the user, or you are trying to understand the people. You're trying to understand their pain points. But you are not just trying to understand their pain point alone. You are trying to understand their pain points so that you can do something about it. So then when you understand that pain point, when you understand the different pain points that people have, you then define which problems do you actually want to solve out of all these ones. Then after deciding the problems that you want to solve, you then ideate, you brainstorm, try and find solutions, and you pick your best solutions, you prototype it, and then you test your solutions out. And then you gather feedback, you improve your prototype, or you improve your ideation, you prototype again, you test, till you find a solution that works. And if in the process, sometimes what happens in this design thinking flow is you have people going in with originally an idea, and then they discover that that idea isn't really a problem, but they discover a problem and then change the solution again. You find the right problem and you find a solution that solves that problem. Sometimes sometimes you go through the process and be like, oh, this is not a problem worth solving, and just kill it there. Again, it's better to go through these 5 steps very quickly and not spend money trying to code for months, and then you now launch the product and see that people are not using it, or like you are not solving any real problem. It's better to go through this process very quickly and find out that, oh, this is not a problem for us to solve, and just end it there, than to spend like 4 or 5 months building something, wasting money, and then discovering people. I don't see it as a problem. I hope you guys are still with me so far, and I hope it's making sense, because that's the most important thing. All right, cool. So let's talk about the first step, which is where we'll just dwell today, and then we end the class today. So empathy, or empathizing, like I said, is this point. What you are trying to do is you are understanding user needs or understanding user pain points. So we have a case. Don't forget our case study. We want to build a product that enables good communication between the school and the parents. But also, this also means that this also looking at it in granular level is that for the parents to have as much information as possible. It means this will cut across the school administrator, cut across the teachers, like the product itself. So you want to really understand, okay, the parents are the ones that need this, but really that's just your boss saying that, oh, we need, like, I think that this is a good problem to solve. Can we solve it? That's just thing. But do people really need the product? Is it really a problem for people? For example, as a parent, rather than just have something that I just log in and see, would I not rather want to have a close relationship with my child's teachers or tutors, such that I can call them and we can have a deeper conversation about, like, a one-to-one conversation about what's actually happening with my child, or getting their insights. Do people actually really prefer that, or really is logging in to just see your child's performance and see teachers' comments? Is it a problem? Is it really a problem? So that's what you're trying to do at this point. You're trying to understand the user needs. You're trying to understand the user pain points. And again, yeah, that's true. I hope you guys are jotting. I hope you guys take notes. Because yeah, okay. Nifemi, okay. I hope you guys are taking notes, because this is quite important. There are a number of things that are not on the slide I've done that I'll be saying. So it's important that you jot. Okay, so The goal of the empathy phase is to develop a deep understanding of the target user group, their needs, their desires, their pain points, and their behaviors. Again, you want to develop a deep understanding, not that you want to develop an understanding. You want to develop a deep understanding. This deep understanding, it's like this it's the keyword, a deep understanding of your user group, your target user group, but not just like their demographics, but you want to understand them deeply, to know their needs, their core needs, their desires. What do they desire? Their pain points and their behaviors. That's the goal. Now, how do you do this? First is, so again, the goal is to have a deep understanding of the target user group. So the first thing is, who are your target user groups? Who is your target audience? That's the first question. Who are the people that I should be studying? Who are my target audience? So, for example, in the case of our what's it called now? Our case study. Our target audience, they are the parents. But again, we need to like break it down further. Like our primary target audience, the person that needs it primarily at this point, are parents. But to break it down further, is it parents of, like, a subset of that? Are they the parents of babies in crèche, because the crèche is also a school? Or are they the parents of pre-kindergarten or kindergarten or children in primary school? Are they parents of people in secondary school, children in secondary school? Are they parents of students in university or higher institutions? Like, they are parents with children. All these different groups are schools, from crèche all the way to even masters. They are schools. But for example, do I need to solve this problem for parents with children in universities? Do they need it? And so that's number one. Like, who are your target audience? Who are your, like, in the deep level? Who are your target user group? That's number one. But aside your primary target user group, there's also the verticals. So if you are creating a product like this, it's not just the parent that will use it, right? I hope you can still hear me clearly. Okay. So the people that, it's not just the parents that will use it. The parents are just one part. The parents are the ones that will see, that will log in to see the students' information and all that. However, there are people that need to put in this continuous assessment scores, this comment, the people that need to put in the details for these students and all those things. So the other question is, do these schools, do they need this kind of solution? Really? Because again, this one now is like a chicken and egg situation where it's not just the parents that want something. Okay, let me put it this way. The parents cannot just want to have a system where they will be seeing their scores, their children's scores. If the school is not willing, or the school doesn't have money to build that kind of solution, it's not the business of, like, the parents cannot enforce it unless one parent wants to decide that, oh, I will do it for you and just give you. But because in this kind of situation now, the school is the most important. The parents are important, but the school is the most important. The school administrator, the school principal, the school teachers. Are teachers going to be, the school administrator, are they willing to use a school management system? Do you get what I'm trying to say? So even though you have understood that the parents, like the person that has brought the problem forward, your boss is a parent, but if the school is not interested in having that kind of system, the parents, worst case, the parents will take their children to a school that has it. But most schools will not lose students because of that. Because again, there's PTA meetings, there's the teacher constantly communicating with the students, and a number of things like that. So the school is a very, very important part of the conversation. So that means you need to understand, okay, how are the schools currently doing students data and students information, students performance? How do they constantly put that together? Do they have a system and stuff like that? You get what I'm trying to say in essence. So what I, the point I'm driving at here is you need to understand the target audience. You need to first decide who are the people that will use this, who are the people that I need to be speaking with. That's the first thing. Now, then what's the subset again? Do I need, am I to understand the pain points of parents with children in university for this kind of product? In my own opinion, I'll say there's no need, because is it the lecturer that will be putting details of the students on? Like, no, you won't need that. But again, do I need to know? Do we need to get parents of people and children in crèche, or do we need this for? So you need to have a subset so that you can know the people you are trying to talk to. Does that make sense? That's the first point. But does that make sense to you? Cool. Shinon, so Chimaka, does that make sense? All right, cool. Then the next thing is to now understand, like now after you've decided your target user group, the next step is now to understand their desires, their needs, their pain point. And you do this by conducting surveys, doing interviews, and also watching them, observing them in their like if it's a product that currently exists, like if you have a product that currently exists and you're trying to improve it, you can observe them how they use the product basically, or how they use the service in their natural environment. But that's really for user observation is really for you have something already that you're trying to observe. But if it's something new, like it's a new product entirely, it's a new problem you're trying to discover, and there's nothing to observe. So you need to understand like you do this understanding mostly by interviews and user service. And at the end of the day, you now create the user person. Now, creating surveys, personally, for me, I would say the rule of thumb is if you are trying to get like general details, like a lot of details, you can start with like you want to, if you are trying to find out I'm trying to see how to put it now. You're trying to find out a okay, so you have an idea and you're trying to find out if people generally have that problem, or how do they currently solve it and stuff. You just want to find out for a lot of people at the beginning. You can do surveys, but because the problem with survey is that you will get people's responses. Some will be true, some will be false, but you get people's responses, but you will not get the needs or the desires or the feelings or the emotions behind those responses most times. So large surveys is good for quantitative data from a user base to just understand general trend and preferences. Now, so and I'm not going to really go into how to create user surveys, how to create questions and all those things. You can find that out. I can try and get links and share with you to further your knowledge on that. But for me, if you have gotten maybe quantitative data, or but if you're trying to really now understand, which is where personally I like to start from. But sometimes I start from quantitative data, just trying to find out generally Do people have this problem? Yes or no? If they have the problem, then we can go further. So going further to really understand them, you do this via interviews. And the interviewing means you are having an in-depth conversation with users to understand their experiences, their motivations, and their challenges. And this is where your first task is going to come from. So the question then is, how do you conduct user interviews? I'm going to drop it. I don't think I have that slide here, but I would add some contents, some links to the channel to the group so that you can watch some short things. But again, what I mean in empathy phase is you want to see the world of your potential users. You want to understand their feelings. You want to appreciate. You need to appreciate them as human beings, and you want to communicate your understanding. So, really, how do you do this when you want to interview? First thing is, one, identify. Make sure that you have locked in your put your user targets, your target audience. You've logged that in. Then when you log that in your head, try and find like at least 10 people that fit that target audience. For example, in the case for our case study, we have target audience of parents, but we also have target audience of schools. So in schools, we know that we need the school admin, but we also need the teachers, the class teachers. So what I would then do if I was going to do that is work on that case study and do interviews. I will look at maybe 5 to 10 different schools. 5 to 10 is fine, but you should not try not to let your interview the people you're speaking with be less than 5. But between 5 to 10 is a sweet spot. So find 5 to 10 schools where you speak with school administrators. The reason we are doing 5 to 10 schools is because you need 5 to 10 administrators, and usually a school has one administrator. So that means you need like 5 schools to have 5 administrators, basically. Then you can let me take it back a bit. The first thing you can first do for the case study is to come up with a survey that is sent to maybe like 50 or 100 schools to find out if they have parents that actually would like to have their access to their students, to their children's performance through a portal and stuff like that. Do they currently use a school management system? What are the limitations of their school management systems? You can do a survey to just across maybe 100 schools, get as many responses. That one is just on the surface, quantitative data. Then you find 5 to 10 schools where you talk to the administrators. Then in each school, you're talking to 5 teachers or like as many people as possible. So that means you have administrators that you are talking to, you have teachers that you're talking to, and then 5 to 10 parents, preferably like for something that like 10 parents. In the category, maybe if you are doing 10 parents that have children from primary 5 to SS3, or from primary 1 to SS3, then you try and distribute it evenly, then you find parents that you are going to talk to. So again, identify the target audience, do survey if you want, find people that you need to talk to. Then reach out to them that, oh, you like to have an interview with them, schedule interviews and all those things, or just walk on the road, see people that you talk to, and just maybe go to school, tell them, oh, you like to speak with them, you're working on a research for something, you like to speak with them, blah, 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 and all that. But before you do the actual interview, are you guys following me and are you guys jotting? And we should, I'm bringing to a close gradually. The reason why it's taking this long is because I first had to recap what we did in the previous class. So that took a bit of time. What I wanted was, and we didn't join early too. What I wanted was like 1 hour of class. So I'm trying to like close it out gradually. So what you want to do again, then It's before you actually then go to have these interviews. For each user category that you found out, you need to come up with questions, as many questions as possible that you're going to ask them. And yes, so this is where I'll give you a couple of like a few tips. Now, the questions you should prepare, you should have opening questions like, hey, good morning. I'd like to speak with you about this. This is about something I'm working on. So I'm trying to really understand. Like, say I'm talking to teachers now or school administrators for now. So, like, I'm trying to understand how schools, how they manage the student data and performance, either manually or through school management systems. Do you mind talking to me? This is going to be maybe I will just take maybe 30 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes of your time, blah blah blah. You want me up, then okay. Maybe you are then asking if they should introduce themselves or stuff like that. Okay, let me switch. Let me try and talk to. Let me see if let me assume that I'm talking to a parent. If I meet a parent, I could say, "Oh, you look lovely. I love your shoes. I love something, something, whatever. Okay, my name is this. Especially if you don't know them before. My name is this, and I'm actually working on something. I'm doing a research on how parents follow up on the performance of their children in school. I know there are different, but I just want to pick your brains and get to understand how you do it as a parent. Then the question also would then be, oh, so permit me to ask, do you have children between the ages of this to this, or do you have children in um, between primary school and secondary school and SS3? Then how many children do you have in this bracket? Then how do you actually today get their performances and stuff like that? So I could want to, again, this is me just speaking from my head. If I want to do this properly, I'll sit down to actually put together questions. So the first question about introducing, the first thing I did was introduce myself and to try and warm the thing. Then maybe I talk about my introductory question could even be like, "It's what do you think of the weather today?" Just to try and get them to warm up with me and all those things. Then, even though you notice that the first question I asked about if they have children between this age group, it was a yes or no question. As much as possible, you want to avoid those kind of questions. Because now, if I'm doing the interview, I could ask the yes or no question, and the only reason I'm asking that question is to try and understand if this person actually fits in properly into the kind of person I want to talk to, or to try and understand the kind of questions I'll be asking this person. For example, I might not have children in that age bracket, but maybe they have children in another age bracket, and so maybe my questions will change, and I would, like, so it just helps me to know. But however, the question is not really giving me the answers I need. Let's say I ask the question of, um, do you do you call the teachers of your children to know how they are behaving in school? The answer is either yes or no. But you are not doing survey question, you are not doing questionnaire, right? So that doesn't really give you enough information. That doesn't really give you much. That question is better if you ask it this way, like, today, how do you follow up and how do you follow up on your children's or your what's performance in school or your what's behavior in school? How do you follow up today? Then that's more open-ended. The parents can then go on and talk about, oh, they speak to their teacher, sometimes they go to school and all those things. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Hello, are you guys still with me? I know I'm doing a lot of talking, but are you following? Is it making sense?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So you want to avoid closed-ended questions. You want to avoid yes or no questions as much as possible. And even if you are going to ask yes or no questions, you want to make sure that that yes or no question is just leading you into a number of open-ended questions. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I ask, for example, at the beginning, I said that I can ask if I'm doing the interview, I can ask them if they have children between this age group, and they say yes or no. Then I can then ask them, oh, okay, so what age group does your children fit in, blah, blah, blah. They answer the question. That maybe I've already decided the different questions I want to ask depending on the age groups that the children fall into. Then that one is just helping me to know the next set of open-ended questions to ask. However, all my questions are not, do you call the teachers of something, something, something? Yes or no? Yes, I call them. Do you go to PTA meetings? Yes, I go to PTA meetings. You get what I'm trying to say? You want to avoid the reason why you are doing interviews again is to understand the users, to understand them at a deep level. So you want them to do a lot, be the ones doing most of the talking. And you are just following up with a few questions. You ask the questions, you let them talk. So that's the goal. So you should not ask questions that the answers will be very short, or the answers will be very abrupt. You want to ask questions that they will, like, by the time they answer, they are even the answer is generating new questions. Do you get what I'm trying to say? It's important that you understand this part, because then you'll be doing, this is like your task. This is your first task. I'll generate the case study, I'll send it, you pick one, and then your first task will be decide on the target audience, come up with questions, then go on to then identify 10 people that you need to speak with for your core user targets, and then go out and actually do those 10 interviews. That'll be your first task. And again, the reason I'm doing this is it is talking about it and explaining the theory to you. There's no way you will understand it really, or you know if you do it well or not, unless you actually try. And the first time you do it, you might most likely will not do it well. But it takes a lot of, and that's the reason I would say 10 interviews, because the first one might not work well, then the second one, but along the line you improve and improve. By the time you do 10 interviews, you should at least have some basic knowledge of how to interview, basically. And then I can help, we can refine questions, we can go through all those along the way. But yeah, so back to what I was saying, you want to avoid closed-ended questions as much as possible. Then you want to listen more than you talk. Then also, aside from talking, and this is the reason why you are not doing survey or questionnaire, why you are doing interview one-to-one. Aside from talking, you want to watch out for their body cues. You know that more than 50% of our conversation is body cues, facial expressions. Those ones mean a lot more than, especially in Africa, where you say, oh, okay, for example, let's say someone asks a question. Do you like eating rice and beans? You know, I like it. It's different from I like it. You get what I'm trying to say? There's the way they talk, like, or some people, they will say, maybe you do something and some people are angry, and then you go to talk to them and say, oh, I'm sorry for doing this, and they say, oh, it's not a problem, I'm not angry. But then from their face and the way they are doing, you know that they are angry. But then they are saying, I'm not angry, which means what they are saying and how they are saying it, it's important. what they're saying is important, but how they're saying it is more important. The body expression, the facial expression, the body cues, the intonation, and everything that is going on when they're saying it is more important than what they're actually saying. So you want to really, because for example, I ask a question like, oh, okay, do you do okay, for the current systems that you use to manage your student performance, how can you tell me your impression about the performance, and how it actually meets your needs, your own needs as a school? Let's say that's a question. And then you know that the question I've asked now allows the person, we allow the person, because I'm basically asking you to tell me more about the systems you use. Does it meet your needs? Is it optimized for you? Like, there are a lot of questions in that one question. So there are a lot of things that they might be saying. But then if they're then saying things like, oh, the current system that we use, we just use it because we don't have any other option. We really don't like it. Sometimes when we use it, it can get you frustrated. You know that, and you know that there are some questions like that that you're asking people, you're interviewing them, and they are saying things like that. You already know that the current system that they are using has plenty of problems, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Plenty of problems. So maybe you allow them finish what they are saying. You can then come back with, oh, okay, so you mentioned that there you experienced some you expressed some frustrations when you were talking about the current systems that you use. Do you mind telling me about the specific problems or the specific issues that you encounter when using this product? Like, if you are free, if you feel free to talk about it, please tell me the specific problems that you face when using this product, however many the problems are. Now, you know that my question now has built on what one of the things and one of the expression of frustration that the person was doing when I was asking the questions. But notice that this kind of question, most likely, I had not prepared before. It only came to me because I listened to I'm not just listening to what the person is saying. I'm listening to the frustrations. I'm listening to the emotions. I'm listening to I'm looking at the facial cues and all those things, all those other things. Those are the things that now need to ask this additional question. Do you get what I'm saying? In essence, you prepare questions before you go for interview. The goal of the questions is to help you start the conversation so that you're not just thinking, what should I say? It's to help set this. However, I always say this to anybody, that if you go for an interview, to interview a real user, and then you only ask the questions that you ask all the questions that you've prepared and no other question, you have not done that interview well. Because interview is meant to be a conversation. I ask a question, you give me an answer. I ask another question, you give me an answer. But while you are giving me an answer, you open the door to another set of questions. I need to understand you better. For example, think about it when you are gisting with your friends. When you are gisting about a particular topic with your friends, you might have questions in mind that you want to ask them. Okay, maybe your friend asks something that they've done, and then you're already prepared. Okay, when we see, you are going to tell me all about it, right? That's usually the thing. When we see, you're going to tell me all about it, or when we talk, you're going to tell me all about it. And then when you start the call, you ask, okay, tell me all about it. How did it go? What did you do? Your friends start telling you, okay, this is I started going, I then this, I then that. You say, okay, wait. So you mean this. Then they answer yes. Then it's continue talking, and then you go again. Okay, so what now happened? You get what I'm trying to say? You get the way I'm trying to say and place the interview. It's a conversation. You prepare questions before, and welcome back, Nifemi. What I've said, to paraphrase what I've said earlier, is you prepare questions beforehand, before you, like, these are the questions you will start with, are questions you will ask. However, while you are talking, you are looking out for body cues, facial expressions, emotions, and all those things. Then you now start on to now start adding on, layering up on those questions, on those questions, on those questions. Then if you see that you've exhausted, like I said, I asked the question, I asked the school administrator to, okay, can you tell me the current systems that you use, how effective are the current systems that you use, how optimized are they to meet your specific needs of measuring of aggregating data and sending and preparing their performance reports. Basically, that's my question to the administrator. Then the administrator then starts telling me, oh, the system that we use, well, we use this particular system. However, that system, sometimes when we are using it, it just crashes. That can be frustrating sometimes. But we with this. Then I've noticed that while they were talking about it, they said something negative. Or it could also be that, oh, the system that we use is very wonderful. It does everything very well. Like we've used the system before, but this one that we use now, it's 100%, like it's great. I've never used, like, that system is wonderful. Now, from the way I'm talking, notice that it's like I'm expressing excitement, and then I'm saying, giving positive things, feedback about the product or the whatever I'm using. So a follow-up question, most likely which I did not prepare for, will then be, oh, I can see that you're very excited about this product. Like, I can see you're bubbly about it, and it gives you everything you need. Do you mind telling me the specific features of the product or the specific part of the product that makes it the best product that you've used for you? Now, see that question came from the answer that this person I'm talking to gave. Right? So, in summary, when you want to do interviews, the best to get you prepared is prepare questions beforehand. Avoid close-ended questions while you are preparing questions. Let your questions be as open-ended as possible. Let it be diverse. And okay, then one other thing to mention is when you are then doing the interview, when you are doing the interview, your questioning should start broad, like you are asking for a broad set of things. Then you should then in the middle start drilling them. For example, what I was doing by asking, can you give me specific ways by which this product that you use is the best product that you've used and stuff like that. Like, I'm now drilling down on the products, on the problems, like drilling down. Then at the end, you want to make it a little bit broad again. Basically, that's the approach I take to understanding, to doing interviews, really. Aside that, again, you identify the target audience, identify people that you need to speak with. Start with, prepare questions beforehand, a lot of questions, as many questions as possible for each user category. As many questions as possible. When you start the interview, start with warm-up questions, warm them up to the conversation. Avoid close-ended questions. Then, when you are doing the interview, listen more than you talk. Watch out for body cues, watch out for facial expressions, watch out for emotions that they are experiencing. For example, talking about food ordering, let's say we are working on a food ordering app, and then I'm asking questions around food ordering app, and the person is saying, oh, I would never in my life use a food ordering app before again, because the last one I used, the driver ate, or maybe I will never use food ordering app, like those people are annoying, or something like that. Now, the from the way they've talked, I can see that this person has some regrets. So I can then come, oh, it seems you have some regrets or some things around using food ordering. Can you tell me specifically what were the issues, or what are the issues you experienced using food ordering apps and stuff like that? Then again, see, I am building on my questions because I'm watching for what they're saying. I'm watching for their facial expressions. Maybe the person says something and they did their face somehow, and I caught that face. I can ask further questions. Why? Oh, I can say that when you talked, your face went like you suddenly had some feeling of anger all over your face. Um, can you tell me more about why you have this kind of feeling about this product? Now, that question is most likely a question I did not prepare beforehand, but because I watched the person's face. Then, when you are, of course, when you are doing the interview, not like when you are talking with your friend and then they are saying something and you are nodding and you say okay, like all those things, then rephrasing. Okay, so if I get you right, what you just said is this, right? Okay, so then I ask my question. I've rephrased what they said just to be sure that they understand that I am not just asking their questions and my mind is somewhere else. I'm asking questions and I'm following them, basically, like we are having a conversation. And also, take notes. If you are not able to record, take notes and quote while you are sorry, while you are doing the interview. However, the preference is record, like record what's happening. Of course, you can note you can note emotions and all those things, but record what's happening. But before you record, like before I started recording this meeting, I had to obtain your consent. To obtain their consent before recording. But the core reason for recording is so that you can really, really be in the moment as you are talking to them, and then afterwards you can now review the recording, and then that's when you are putting your notes together. But does what I've said so far, does it make sense? Chinonso, thank you, Maki. Chinonso. Nifemi. Nifemi has left again. Okay, so like I said, the first class task will be this. You had to, okay, I think here I put 4. I will decide on, I'll try and put together a couple of case studies where you pick from. And the task will then be, first, try and understand that task to the granular level. What exactly is the problem? That's number 1. Number 2 will be, who are the people, who are the stakeholders, the user categories that will potentially use this product? That's number 2. Number 3, come up with questions, at least 10 questions to ask your interview participants. So if you have 2 user categories, that's 10 questions each for each category. Then look for, I'll change this to from 4. I think I used this for a class somewhere, so I used 4. I'll take this. This was meant to be like a class, like an event, like we were there, so it was meant to be something that they were going to do there. So that's why I put 4. But for you, so that you can build that interview skill, look for 10 people and carry out interview with these 10 people. So these 10 people could be split between, for example, if you have a product with, if you have 2 user categories for the product, you could split it 5 people. For example, in the case of this product class and case study, I could say I'll interview 5 parents, I'll interview 5, what's it called, teachers and 5 school administrators, or like something like that. But if it's too, yes, the class task will be individual. You are doing it individually. It's not everybody doing it together. So you look for, so if your product has just 1 user category, find 10 people that fit that category and interview them. If it is 2 user categories, you can split it. Just make it that you come up with at least 10 questions for each participant. And then interview 10 people across your user categories. That means across all your user categories, you will have 10, you will carry out 10 interviews. And the last part is, which I didn't talk about, the last part is you document your interview notes. Now, documenting your interview note basically is, if you can record, then after recording, put everything the person said, the different things that the person said, and all those things, just like you're writing a note. Basically, interview note is just, you've now gone out to doing the interview. So for each question that you asked for, like put together like the person's responses, how the person was behaving, the emotions and all those things, just document, like put everything, your experience interviewing, put their responses and everything that went on, put it together put them in a note. But most times, your notes will include the things they said, like the questions you asked and their responses to the questions, the no the yes. So yeah, your notes will include the questions you asked, their responses to each of those questions. That's number one. Then maybe while they were answering those questions, is the feelings they noted, the emotions that they brought forward. Maybe they felt rage and stuff like that. Then all those things you put it together in the interview notes. Does that make sense? Do you understand the task? Okay. Shinon, so do you understand what needs to be done? Yeah? I didn't hear you. I can't hear you clearly. You're a bit far from the mic, I guess.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I was saying this last part, I really don't understand
Okay.
much.
So the last part is basically this. Let's say I am interviewing you. Okay. Think about, you're in a classroom. The lecturer is teaching you something. And your lecturer is not necessarily dictating notes, but lecturer is explaining stuff. Usually you write notes, right? You try and form notes as the lecturer is talking, which is the things the lecturer is saying, examples is given, right? Chinonso. So the interview notes is basically, you had you've done the interview with this person. For every question asked, what was the interviewer's response? Do you get? So I asked them, can you tell me something, 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 something? And then their response is, oh, we do this, we do this, we do this, we do this, we do this. Their response, write it out. Then for some of their responses, so maybe sometimes when we ask them a question and maybe they felt angry, or like they felt like those emotions, as you are asking them questions, you are trying to notice their facial expressions, you are trying to notice the emotions and all those things. Those emotions, those things too, you want to also note it down. Do you get now?
Yeah.
Sorry, you're far from the mic again.
I said I get you now.
Okay, yes. So in essence, so again, the task will be understand the problem that you need to solve, identify the stakeholders, the different user categories, especially at least the most important ones. Come up with at least 10 questions to ask your interview participants. Find 10 people that fits your target audience and interview them. 10 people across your different user groups, and then document your interview notes. And then document them on Google Doc and share with me. I'll share my email address but again, I'll still share the questions that you solve on the group. So it's fine. But does it make sense to you? Do you have questions? I'm done. So if you have questions, we can quickly just take a few minutes to take questions. And okay, I didn't talk about empathy maps, but no, we'll talk about empathy maps later. Yeah, Maki, go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much for the insightful class. So I wanted to ask, because I was just imagining everything that I said. So like probably we'll be meeting up with these people like real life.
Yes,
We'll go
real life.
to okay, we'll
Yes.
go to schools and
No, 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 no.
have
So I'm not
interviews.
going to give you. I'm not going to give you this task. This is just class task that I'm using to do example as we go along. This
Okay,
is also for
okay,
another different. So for me, like I said, I want you guys to work on different things. So I could bring a prop like maybe I could bring most likely there'll be a case study for fintech, there'll be a case study for health tech, there'll be another case study for maybe edutech, but not this one. There'll be another one for maybe insurtech. So whatever the industry, your goal will be find people that that will use this product, potential users, find people, and then interview them. Again, the reason why I'm doing this, the reason why I'm doing this is I don't just want to teach you the theory and then that's it. My goal is to
yes,
make sure that you understand it. So, and you know that I said that at the end of the day, the goal is that you have a portfolio. So you've seen some people's portfolio on the product bodies where they did interviews, they are interviewing blah blah blah, user flow. So this is to make sure that you actually do all those. So everything that you do now, that's why I said the class. This is now really the class starting. Everything that you do from here going forward will be the things that you put together at the end of the day to form your portfolio. So if you don't do it, you don't have a portfolio because you don't have anything
yes,
to put. But if you do it, so and that's the reason I'm saying carry out 10 interviews, because then you can say, like, by the time you interview 10 people, you should be a little bit comfortable in approaching people, talking to them. And the first five might not work well. But again, the more you do it, the better you become, the better you become. So the essence, the that's the reason why I've structured. I don't know how about how much to structure their tasks. But the reason I've structured it this way is to make sure that I force you to do the work. Like I stress you. My goal is to stress you so that at the end of the day, you have the knowledge and you can stand anywhere to say that, oh, product discovery, I use the design thinking flow. This is what I do. And if you find a problem, like, because this that I'm saying now, the design thinking, this empathy, interviewing people and all those things, is the same anywhere. You have a problem to solve in fintech, you use it, you have a problem. So any question that comes, you want to do product discovery, you can pick up this framework. Okay, who are the people that will use it? Let's talk to them. And you know, they always say you need to talk to your users. You should not make product for yourself, blah, 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 all those. So how do you actually talk to users? Interviews, surveys, stuff like
mm,
that. So this is me. This is like the life of, for example, there's a product discovery work I'm currently working on where I have to speak with undergrads, and potentially speak with lecturers, potentially also speak with university authorities. So we've gotten to the stage, the prototype stage of the product, and we want to test it out. So testing it out means that um, sometimes during the week next week, I have to go to University of Ibadan to look for new students, 100 level, 200 level, and talk to them, as many people as possible. And the people I'm targeting like about 20 people. Talk to them, put the product, the design that I've done, the prototype that I've done, put it in their hands and see how they use it. So that's the essence, really, to get you to do it. So I'm going to put together the tasks. I'll share it. I'm just going to put together about 8 so that any other person that watches this and wants to continue the class, they can pick a task and they can work on it. So I
mm.
hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, so I think we can close it here. So the next time we'll talk about, there's one more thing we're meant to talk about, empathy maps. But for now, so that it's not going to be too much, first, do the interviews, put together your interview notes. The interview notes is going to form the empathy map at the end of the day. So again, everything we do now will build on it. So empathy maps will build on your interview notes. The next phase, which is um, define. Define will build on your empathize. Ideate will build on define. Prototype will build on ideate. Test will build on prototyping. So that's the way it's going to flow. So let's just So let's stop it for here today, and then we'll pick it up next week. But between now and then, please work on your task. If you have any questions, you can ask me on the other than that, do have a lovely night rest. We'll catch up on the group.
All right. Thank you very much. But you'll be sending the tax when? When will
Yes,
you be
I'll send the
sending?
task. I'll send the task tomorrow in the group.
Okay. Okay. No problems. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
When is the expected submission date?
No, you are not. So just share with me before the next class. That's next week Friday. And next week Friday, we are going to then, because next week Friday, we are going to then do the task of putting all those things together into Empa, and that one will probably be a live class where we are doing it together. I'll do one, and then maybe you'll be doing it together with me, to put together your stuff into empathy maps, and then we go into the define phase that next week. So this needs to be done by next week Friday, or to build on it on that Friday. Does that make sense?
All right, sir.
Yeah.
All right.
Uh,
All right. Thank you. Enjoy your night. Bye.
Thanks.
all
Yeah.
right. Good night.